Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to give you my 5 reasons why the Elektron Rytm Mk1 is still awesome value. And I think I've seen them, the lowest was around $580, but they're going for around $600 to $700 on the regular. But if you look out, I think you can get a super awesome deal. So I'm going to show you why I think they're still awesome, and why you might not need to spend all the extra money just for the 2 extra features, which are live sampling and it is a bigger device, so the pads are a little bit better and whatnot. So let's get into it. So I have just the standard drum kit that comes with it. And that's just the standard. When you load up the drums, that's what you get. The first point I want to talk about is the sequencer. Now, many of you might already have 1 or 2 pieces of Elektron kit, but for those that don't, or those that kind of may have used one but didn't quite get into it enough, let's look at the sequencer, because while it's easy to get a basic rhythm, but I feel like the real strength is when you start doing the trig locks and start applying effects and whatnot. So let's get a simple beat going. So we've got our kick drum, and let's get the pattern going. Let's get a clap, and let's turn the clap down a little bit. And where are we? And let's get some hats. And then let's shape the kick drum a little bit. Go over to the synth. And then we'll go to the filter, put some envelope on there, and pull the go back to the synth and let's pull the decay down a little bit. I think we're good there. We'll come over to the hats. Okay, cool. We got super basic drum pattern going on. From here, let's look at adding some little toms in. And then maybe these ones. So we've got a simple basic pattern going on, and now let's look at adding some of the trig conditions or trig locks to some of the bits and pieces, so we can kind of create more variation and more sort of depth in just a simple loop. So we're going to use this as our main sort of sound to kind of mess around with a little bit. So let's get it going again, and let's mute. We'll mute that one. So we just got this one now. And let's go over to we're going to go and we want the delay. So we're on the amp, so we can go to the delay, which is cool. Gives like a little bit like, but what we can do is we'll come over, we'll go effects, we've got the delay here, and this is left it all open. So you can see if we trig lock this one, and then we'll go to And then what we can do is we have the feedback going, so then it goes, and then this is kind of the stop to the feedback. You can see we have a lot of feedback, and then this one drops it down. We can bring this up a little bit. And then time, we can have this one go, and then this one we'll bring it down. And then what we can do from there is we've got just a one page. Let's go. We're going to add another page there. We'll go back. We'll go, yep. So we got this over 2 pages. This is the first page. Let's take this out on this one. So let's take this one and we'll move one over here now. And you can start to see there as we bring stuff in. Let's go to these hats and take up this. Let's just put a little bit of reverb on them. And we'll put a bit of reverb onto that sort of weird tom thing. And this is where you can start to come, once you've got this sort of something weird going on. And then if we, let's go track back to this one. We can take this one out of the first, and then get the volume down for that hat a little bit. So we could also come over and bring up the effects again. We've got the delay, so we can start to just put in some other bits and pieces to kind of really shift it up a bit more. So let's go to here. And then put this one here, we'll bring it all the way down to 1. But maybe bring this time down. Ooh. With that extra time, it's like a little bit too crazy, but and those locks adjust with the delay time. So if we come over and we're on page 1 here, so we can and put some more of the actual hits in. And you can start to hear, you can create some like really out there sort of patterns with just the drum machine without having to add extra stuff from plugins and whatnot, and really kind of develop your own sort of sound. Next up, I want to talk about the sound design. So if we come, I'm going to mute everything except the kick drum. So we've got the kick drum here. We have the same, well, as far as I know, it's the same synth engines as the Mark II has. So if you double click, you just have these here, so we can go through. I like silky. Got that. Let's go to the filter again. Pull out the resonance just a hair. And then we can come over, we'll go effects, distortion, and we'll just add just a little bit. So already, if we mute these, let's select this track and let's bring down the volume a little bit. And you can hear there, just shaping the sound, it can really sort of just like, I'm not a big one for like a lot of menu diving, but being able to just have some simple controls here to really shape your kicks and actual drum sounds can really help develop and will pull you away from just having just the standard sort of drum sounds that you hear on every track. You can kind of develop your own sound again. So point number 3 is one of my favorite things for sound design and for just general music production is you can load your own samples into here. So you can see here we have a synth and a sample. So let's load some samples in and then we'll show you how I take a normal drum kit with the built-in drum kit, a sample kick drum with the built-in kick drum to layer them together to create something again more original. So let's go to samples. I got loads of samples loaded in here. So let's look for some. Let's go Lindrum. Kick. And hard. There we go. We're going to load them to project, confirm load 2 samples. Awesome. So now that we've got that loaded in, let's put it onto the kick. So we've got our kick track selected. Let's just turn down the kick, and if we push play, we've got nothing playing. And then if we come in, let's get a sample. There we go. Let's bring up the volume a little bit. And actually, what's the other sample I got in? Oh, that's the ride. We don't want that. So let's go yes, and let's tune it up a little bit. And then now we can come and let's just sort of blend them together to get it going. Tuning it back to 0 works really well. And then when we start to add the filter and whatnot, it can really shape it a bit more. Just want a little bit of the attack in there. So if we go back to the sample and I take it off, you can hear that's what we're getting without the sample and with the sample. And if I bring in the other elements, so there you go, just a simple process of layering one kick drum with the built-in synth engine. You can kind of give more weight to sort of older samples and older drum machines. Lastly, the one thing that I wanted to talk about was the Overbridge. Having an easy and pretty seamless way to connect your drum machine into your computer to get the sounds out is phenomenal. I love my TR8, but having to do multiple passes to get all the sound in or creating some weird USB instrument, it's just not really working. This works really well. It's super seamless. And as you can see, we have so many more options here. So you can see this is the sample that we have here. If I come across to synth and turn this down so you can hear, we can make all these changes here if you're more inclined to use a plugin. I sort of did a little menu dive to get the samples in, but if we come across to, say, we've got the snare here, we can look at loading some samples in. I have all my sample packs here. So we want, let's go to this one here, and we got the snare. You can sample it, you can preview it and then assign it. So we can come in here, boosh. Turn the synth down. We can put the level up, mess around with it and kind of get it something to what we want to use. Again, you also have up here, this is how we can flick through the different sounds. And then lastly, you have all of our effects options. So when I come across and I hit effects here and kind of went to the delay and reverb, they're just displayed there nice and easy for us to sort of see what's going on. So yeah, I think at around $600 or just a hair under, the Analog Rytm is still an awesome purchase. And if you're on the fence and you're kind of looking for a new drum machine, I would definitely look at seeing if you can pick up a deal on the Analog Rytm Mk1, because it is so much cheaper and still offers almost all of the options as the Mk2. So again, hopefully I've inspired you to create something today. Until next time, see you later.